Okay, this time we're going to talk about server labels. Now, server labels are a really good way to meet your HA goals. Let's take a look at a simple example. In fact, I am going to move this down to one file. There we are. And you see here that the backup path is c:\\SQL backups bit, right? And the full path, let me just copy the full path up here so we can see it a little bit better. I'll go all the way up here. There we go. So the full path is the path and the drive, followed by the server name, followed by the server. And if you had an instance, then that would be followed by the instance name after that. Now, the server label will go right here because that is the server you're on. That is where Minion Backup is inserting the server name. Because if you're taking all of your backups to one location, then you're going to need to have them under a server name so that, you know, all of the backups just aren't in a single folder, right? So Minion Backup appends the server name. The problem comes in with HA scenarios. Let's take availability groups for an example, right? Let's say you've got 6 nodes or even 2 nodes. It doesn't matter, right? So you've got 2 replicas, and on your primary replica, Minion Backup appends the server name. So let's build this just to whiteboard this a little bit, right? Here, let's give a little bit of space. There we go. So we'll call this replica 1, right? So when you're on replica 1, backups are going just fine, everything's dandy. But then you fail over to replica 2, and then Minion Backup appends the server name, and now you're backing up to replica 2, right? But you've got backups in both locations for these guys. You may have some log backups over here, some log backups over there. You may have some fulls over here, some fulls over there. So it's a lot harder for you to keep track of where your stuff is being backed up because they're in different folders. And if you're backing up across 6 different servers, right? Maybe you've got fulls going on over here, and you've got diffs going on there too, and you've got logs going on over here, or maybe, and then that one goes down, and you've got logs going down on this other node, and then that one fails back over to the original one, so now the logs are back on this node. So backups can move around in an AG scenario. And that's really the most complicated scenario because you can have multiple nodes or replicas, right? But even if you've got a simple mirror with only 2 nodes, if you've got your primary mirror and then you fail over to the secondary, you're still going to have this problem right here where the server names are going to be different. So what we allow you to do is we allow you to have what's called a server label. So now when I come in here, let's do this for the bit database. So I'm going to do this for these guys right here. I'm going to say server label. Oh, let's give it a AG. Nope, let's call it something my DB server. Why not? I'll be really creative, right? So you could name this after the AG listener. You could name it after the application. You could name it anything you wanted to. So let's go ahead and make this the same for all of these bits right here. There we go. So now that I've got that, now I'll come over here and I'm going to run this code again. There we are. And you notice how now the path, let me get rid of these guys. Now the path is my DB server instead of replica 1. So now no matter which node I'm on, if I configure the server label, they'll all be going to the same place. And it doesn't have to be for HA scenarios. It could just be if you've got a prod box and a dev box that somehow you want to, for some reason you want to back up to the same location. I don't know why you'd want to, but you know, there's no requirement here that you be on different, that you have an HA scenario. That's just what it was designed for. So, you know, if you want a different server label and if you want a common server label across DR sites because the server names are going to be different on your different DR sites. Maybe you're handling things with DNS, and maybe you're handling that lookup with DNS instead, right? So Minion Backup, with Minion Backup, you can standardize the server labels across DR sites, and that way your scripts are still going to work the same. So you don't have to keep making alterations to your scripts. So there you go. That is the reasoning behind the server label. Now, if you just leave it null, it will pick up the server name like you saw. But you're more than welcome to put together your own custom server label and set up these scenarios any way you like.